You know what? Naughty Dog is not fucking paying me. My family's hungry. They're starving. I can't pay my rent. I'm sick of this shit. I'm leaking the game. So one day this nigga he snuck into Naughty Dog headquarters, right? This nigga leaked in, fucking had his shit on, had his head on, and he snuck in on this bitch like this. The coast is clear, Naughty Dog. All right. Then he grabs the keyboard and he starts hacking the mainframe. Ellie's gonna kiss a bitch in the mouth. You're never gonna kiss. I'm gonna leak this cutscene. You wanna pay me? The first review in which I want to talk about is The Last of Us 2. I beat this game. If you follow me at twitch.tv, you know that I beat this game already. So we're gonna get into it and talk about The Last of Us 2. If you're worried about spoilers, this is a spoiler-free review. It's a spoiler-free review. I'm not talking about anything like story related other than whether or not I like the story, but it's gonna be very vague. I'm not gonna get into too many details or nothing like that. If you want a spoiler review, head on over to the Gaming Illuminati channel. We did a review. Hold on, let me see. Let me get the title of that video for you. If you want the spoiler, we actually already did a review on the GI channel. For those in the way, that's my stream team. Go to the Gaming Illuminati channel. The title of the video is The Last of Us Part 2 review on Gaming Illuminati. Right now it dropped 3 days ago. It has 8.2K reviews and it's over an hour long. It was me, JG, Ace, Chaos, and Anon. So it was 5 of us. And we went in depth, like it's a spoiler cast, full blown review. And then at the end, everybody gives their score. And then we give the average on what we thought about The Last of Us 2. So if you want a spoiler review, that's the one. But this is going to be a spoiler free review. I'm not gonna lie. So I was coming up with notes for The Last of Us 2, and it was really hard to talk about this game without spoiling anything. So like, I apologize for all the vagueness, but like, this is such a story driven game. It was hard to talk about it. And the reason it was hard to talk about it, let's just get this straight out of the way. Did I enjoy this game? No. Do I think it is as bad as the internet made it out to be, all the backlash that I got? No. I think the truth is in the middle. I don't think that Naughty Dog made a very good game, but I also don't really think that this is complete dog shit. So for this one, I wrote down 5 positives and 6 negatives. And I'm not gonna lie, like it really took me a while to write down these positives. These positives are a stretch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's get into it. All right, so first positive for The Last of Us 2, the game is gorgeous. I played this on the PS4 Pro. Runs at 30 frames, but I never had a hiccup, never had a frame drop. It runs well. The game looks great, full of luscious greens, the chaotic world, the draw distance. For such a chaotic world, it looks beautiful. Naughty Dog did do a great job with the visuals as well as the facial animations, and like all the character models, they look realistic. So like graphically, this is definitely one of the best looking games on the PS4, and I think they went out on what they bang in terms of visuals, now that the PS5 is on the way. So shout out to the fact that the game looks great. The first negative that I have for it, which by the way, I go back and forth. The first negative I have for The Last of Us 2 is the pacing for this game is absolutely horrific. For a multitude of reasons. It's a lot of just walking around, just aimlessly running around, riding the horse, just walking into buildings, collecting cans. This game felt like a Steam early access. It felt like a Steam early access game, like a just survival game. Like without spoiling too much, because god damn, this game is so story driven. Without Joel being there the entire game, if you catch my drift. And it's just Ellie and Abby collecting cans. The game is just not the same. Like in the first game, watching Ellie's relationship develop with Joel over time, because if you remember when Ellie and Joel were first introduced, Ellie was kind of like this asshole kid that wasn't trusting of anybody, and then by the end of the game they developed this father-daughter relationship, and it was very organic, and the pacing was great. With this game, because it's mostly just Ellie sneaking around collecting cans, not talking to anybody, as well as Abby, the pacing to me, that was just ass, and it was just aimlessly walking around doing nothing half the fucking time. The shit was boring. For a world full of like zombies and clickers, it sure was missing a lot of zombies and clickers in a lot of areas. I didn't feel like I was in immediate danger most of the time. It felt very calm, and that was really weird. And the pacing was also weird too, because like the way the story was told, one moment you're in the present, the next you're in the fucking past, the present, the past again, the present, and then the past in which it was told, it wasn't consistent. It wasn't like there was one moment you were in the present, then you were in the past 5 years ago. It was one moment you were in the present, the next you're in the past 5 years ago, then it sends you to 2 years ago, then to 1 year ago. The pacing was just, it was just like, bro, all this fucking back and forth, and then on top of that, half the game you don't even play as Ellie, you play as a new character named Abby, and they'll explain why in the story, but like it just, the pacing was absolutely horrendous. It was just a positive, once again, this is a stretch. A positive I have for the game is there was great voice acting. Top tier, definitely top tier voice acting. So like I was definitely tuned in for the cutscenes for the most part. I don't know what to say other than it had great voice acting, very realistic, great vocal inflections. Like I said, I am really stretching to give some positives to this game. Basically, the positives are like the production value. The production is fucking great. It is great on this game. Another negative is there weren't a lot of new gameplay mechanics in this game, which was very disappointing because we waited 7 years for this shit. But one new gameplay mechanic is now the characters can jump. Woo! But the reason I put it in the negatives is because the jumping adds absolutely nothing to the gameplay. I swear to God, when you jump like half. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they, like in the future when the clickers came, humans stopped developing calf muscles, because that's kind of like where the power to jump comes from in your legs. Like nobody has any calf muscles in this game. Like you can barely jump, and it creates for some very awkward platforming sections. You have to time it absolutely perfect. It doesn't feel realistic. It doesn't feel like the character's weighted or anything. It just feels like it's absolutely horrible, and I feel like they should have tested that better. Especially for somebody who loves playing platformers, the jumping in this game was absolutely horrible. And for that to be one of like 2 new gameplay mechanics, the shit was ass. The next negative that I have, the next positive that I have, I mean, for this game is the new enemy types. There's some new enemy types. The newest one that the one that I liked the most, that I thought was cool and was pretty challenging to kill, I forgot the name of it, but like whenever you would go through like buildings, there would be a clicker type that was kind of attached to the wall. And if you weren't paying attention to the wall, it would jump out at you and it would run all over the place. And combine that with the other clicker types, and it created this what's the word I'm looking for? This tension that you, and this need for more strategy, because they could pop out at any time. So I thought those were pretty cool. And of course you had the big fat farting ones that were really annoying. They would fuck you up really quick. So it was cool to see like some new enemy types. Nothing like mind blowing, but it was something new, and it forced you to change up the strategy when it came to the shooting. Another negative, the story. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it wasn't good. Honestly, I really want to spoil the ending. Like, I guess the ending goes into it with the story. The ending and the story just weren't good for me. Listen, the best way I can tell you why this, please go watch the spoiler review on the GI channel. The best way I can tell you the story was not good to me, in my opinion, without spoiling, is The Last of Us 2 is an example of what happened when greed meets creativity. I was always one of the people who said at the end of The Last of Us 1 that the ending to The Last of Us 1 was a great ending. It was very human. It was very selfish. It was unexpected. It wasn't this crazy save the world story like we always get. And I felt like they should have left it that way. But this is what happens when corporate greed and demand from the fans, because the fans think they know everything, meets creativity. They should have left the story alone. Instead, they took that and they ran with it, and they were forced to create something, and it just turned out bad. In my opinion, it turned out bad. Like, I can give you the moral of the story, but then it's like, listen, man, the story wasn't good. It wasn't good. I will say a lot of people didn't like the story for like different reasons. I just didn't like it because I wasn't entertained. It was very predictable. A lot of people didn't like the new character Abby. Halfway through the game, you switch from Ellie to Abby and you start playing through her story. I liked Abby's sections more. I thought they were more action packed. But as far as the story as a whole, it wasn't good, and it was very predictable in my opinion. And anybody who I don't know, like, this dude wrote me this whole message on Twitter, it was a novel, dog, about how I didn't understand. And I seen comments in the YouTube section too of our GRE with people saying that I don't understand the depths. This shit is not that deep. Without even spoiling what happens in the story, the moral of the story is revenge is bad. Chaos creates chaos. Ooh, like people, like, I swear, people who love The Last of Us 2 are like fucking Rick and Morty fans. Like they just swear it's the deepest thing on earth. Revenge is bad. No fucking shit. That's why man, fuck that shit. Anyways, let's get to a positive, because like I said, I don't want to go long. The kills were satisfying. This is another stretch. When you got into gunfights, it took me a second to readjust to the gunplay mechanics in this, because it's very sway. You can upgrade the weapons and they sway a little bit less. There's a recoil a little bit less. I get they were going for like a realistic thing. Once you get the hang of it, when you get kills, they are satisfying. I'll give the game that much. Popping a clicker's head off or a human's head off and it just splatting all over the place. It was cool. It was cool. Shooting them in the chest and falling over. It was cool. It was cool. Or the shotgun blast and just blasting their whole body away. It is satisfying to get kills in this game. Definitely. The next negative that I have for it is this game is entirely too long. In my opinion, you know, I do not give like numbers on reviews. Normally I say, for those of you who are new to my reviews, I say either buy or wait till the price drops or skip it. For this game, if I had to score it, the maximum score I could give this game was a 7 out of 10. But one of the reasons I had to drop the fucking score was the game was too long. This game could have been like a 6 or a 7 if they would have cut. It's so much fat in this game, just walking around aimlessly doing nothing, collecting cans. There's no clickers to shoot. Nothing's going on in the story. The notes in the world, most of them were boring. It was just nothing to do in this game, and it just padded it with it being an open world. And I hate games. I like the fact that the first one was more linear. I hate the fact that every game is trying to be open world. Developers, stop making open worlds if you're not going to fill it up with interesting things to do. And because of that, it made the game long. On average, most people are reporting that it took them like 30 hours to beat the game. It took me like that long to beat the game because I was exploring and stuff like that. If this game was like 12 to 15 hours, it would have been much better if they would have just cut the fucking fat out. Get that shit out of here. Next positive, last but not least, the stealth is decent. I like to play stealthy. They added this new mechanic. Well, not a new mechanic, but there's now new tall elephant grass in the game. You know, with the world being in an apocalypse, nobody's mowing the lawn anymore, so the grass is tall as hell. So now Ellie and Abby can crawl around in tall elephant grass. It kind of reminded me of like SOCOM US Navy SEALs, and the grass sways and stuff, and they had like these nice graphics, and it was really dope to see. So I thought that was pretty cool. So like for those of you wondering what's new in terms of gameplay mechanics, honestly, the fact that you can jump, which is not good, and there's tall grass, that's basically what we waited 7 years for. Anyways, the next negative that I have is the AI isn't the best. Your partner, good luck. Sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not. You know how that goes. There'll be an enemy right in front of their face and you guys will be in a shootout. There could be an enemy to my right? There's literally a clip of me when I'm playing with Dina. I was shooting the enemy to the right. Dina's to my left, and there's an enemy coming from the left, right in front of Dina's face. Dina is shooting to the person to the right, and I'm like, Dina, what the fuck are you doing? So the AI is dumb as hell. They'll run out to the enemy, just give your location away. It wasn't always bad, but it's hit or miss is what I'm saying. And last but not least, the other negative that I have for the game is the cover system was not good. In order to get the camera to flip when you're in cover, you have to look left in order to make it go left. It would have been nice to just hit a button and being able to go over your shoulder. You can do that when you're aiming down a sight, but like the cover system was not good. It was annoying. This game overall was not good in my opinion. I would put this in the same bracket as Kingdom Hearts 3. It's not a terrible game. Do not listen to the internet. It's not like the 2 out of 10 that a lot of people are saying, but also don't listen to the internet once again. It's not a 10 out of 10 like IGN and GameSpot were saying. It's because a lot of the major publications were giving it a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, the truth is in the middle. It's not complete dog shit, but it's not a masterpiece in my opinion. It's somewhere in the middle. This game is too long. There's literally nothing innovative about the gameplay. You're literally playing this for the story, and the story wasn't good in my opinion. It was so in my opinion, like I said, I put this in the same bracket as Kingdom Hearts 3. The game is a disappointment. They should have left this game the fuck alone. It's like, this is what we got after a 7-year wait. And for those of you wondering about, because like a lot of people were complaining about SJW stuff, and none of that I didn't get mad at none of that shit. I didn't care about none of that stuff. I don't care what happens to any of the characters. None of it bothered me because logically speaking, a lot of things were supposed to happen. If anything, in my opinion, the reason this game is bad because it's just not a good game. It's not fun to play. This game was not fun to play for me. It was very disappointing that we waited almost 8 years. We waited almost, y'all be forgetting, The Last of Us 1 was a PS3 game. We waited almost 10 years to play the same exact game, minus one of our favorite characters, no new mechanics, the introduction of a new character that's not particularly interesting. I didn't hate her, Abby, but she wasn't particularly interesting. Her biceps were, and her triceps, they were really big. And a fake deep story about why revenge is bad. This game shouldn't, in my opinion, this game shouldn't exist. So what's my recommendation? I have 2 recommendations for The Last of Us 2. In my opinion, if you enjoyed The Last of Us 1 and you're interested in The Last of Us 2, I would advise you to wait till the price drops to play The Last of Us 2. Just avoid the spoilers. Don't watch any YouTube videos. Wait till the price drops. Get it when it's like $30 and then play The Last of Us 2. If you were never interested in The Last of Us 1 and you were never interested in The Last of Us 2, don't believe the hype. Don't even play the game. Don't even bother. Play the first one if you want, but don't bother with this game. So like I said, if there was interest there already, I would say wait till the price drops. If you never had interest in The Last of Us 2, just skip the game altogether. This game was actually, it hurt my soul to play this shit. I literally couldn't believe what I played. But it's not as bad as other people saying it's not as good. The truth is in the middle, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on The Last of Us 2. Hopefully it helped. If it did, on the video version, if you watch it, hit the like button.